Welcome, everyone. We're back to our series, Qualitative Conversations, and today we're going to be talking with our friend and colleague, Sarah Tracy. I'm Ray Mayetta, president of Research Talk. My background's as a sociologist, and I study personal relationships primarily, but also learn from tons of things from our clients, which is always fun. And Research Talk is celebrating our 30th year this year, working to support qualitative researchers, whether it's helping direct them on projects or professional development. And that's our relationship with Sarah. And there are separate conversations today. We'll be talking about three different courses Sarah is putting forward for us and some general things about qualitative inquiry. But one of her courses is Qual Research Essentials, Understanding the Landscape, Life Cycle, and Value of Qualitative Inquiry. That's at our summer intensive. I'm going to ask my colleagues just to go quickly and we'll go around. And if each of you can introduce yourself, we'll close that with Sarah. Just short, we'll do quick introductions, and then we'll have a question to open for Sarah and flow from there. So, yeah, Jeff, you want to?
Sure, thanks, Ray. I'm Jeff Petruzzelli. I've been with Research Talk since 2001 as a qualitative research specialist.
Then Jeff.
And I'm Paul Mijas. I'm a qualitative researcher and consultant at the Odom Institute at UNC Chapel Hill. And I've also been with Research Talk since 2001 as a qualitative consultant.
And Paul is the lead qualitative person at Odom, which has been our partner in Summer Intensive since 2012. And Sarah, tell us a bit more about you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Tracy. It is my pleasure to be able to work with Research Talk once again. I've had the opportunity and joy of working with them for, probably about 15 years. And I am a scholar of organizational communication, but I have written extensively on qualitative research. I have a book through Wiley. I also am author of the 8 Big Tent criteria for quality in qualitative research. And one of my biggest missions in my career has been, how can I create space so that other people can do their research in rigorous and joyful and impactful ways?
I love that expression, create space, Sarah. It's a wonderful way to think about it. And that space is not literal. I mean, it could be, right? But you're thinking in a much more kind of mindful strategy there.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's powerful. So we wanted to start just with a general question. Things are kind of rapidly changing in our world. And when we think about qualitative inquiry, which all of us are not just professionals in the field, but a little geeky about it, we kind of enjoy what we do. Why qualitative inquiry in 2026?
That's a great question, Ray. Two things come to mind. First of all, research overall has been in part a little under attack lately. People have questions, people have concerns, and Research Talk and these seminars bring people together, like-minded people in a community where you can be frank about what you're up to and support one another. And engaging in a workshop like this is really a gift to yourself, a gift of time, a gift of enrichment. And then secondly, why qualitative research in 2026? Now more than ever, people are outsourcing their thinking to artificial intelligence. And that's a topic that we'll be covering in a variety of ways in the workshops. And there's certainly a lot of opinions on that. But the thing is in this outsourcing, we have lost some of the detailed description and personal narrative that makes qualitative research come alive. And so when you refocus on those narratives, you are going to be upskilling and putting yourself in a space apart from others who are unfortunately over-relying sometimes and over outsourcing their thinking to artificial intelligence.
Yeah, bringing in the personal narrative is just, it really just pulls things together in such a empowered way. And your courses work through the journey of a qualitative research project, even a qualitative research career, really. And the first course you're teaching for us this summer is just that. And we're really excited to introducing your thoughts, your strategies. I love that your courses are principled, thoughtful. There's coherent strands that run through, but practical strategies for moments overall. So your first course is a qualitative research essentials is the
Mhm.
topic, but your subtitle is understanding a landscape, life cycle, and value of
Mhm.
qualitative inquiry.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
a real powerful journey in. What makes this course distinctive?
Well, just as you said in the title, it is this landscape and life cycle. It gives you an overall idea of what qualitative research is and the mindset that you can valuably take up in order to do qualitative research. And so you're able to kind of have this, overview so you know where you're going, and it gives you some confidence along the way of knowing those particular parts. And it's perfect for people who maybe have been thrown in to a qualitative project, maybe because you wanted to, but maybe because you just got thrown in and you're trying to figure out, okay, what is going on? What is the language? What are the words that people use? I need to sound like I know what I'm talking about, and I need to have an idea of this entire process. And people in this course, they might have been in the past really familiar with quantitative research methods. Perhaps they're brand new to qualitative. And other people who take this course and find a lot of value in it are people who have practiced qualitative research, but maybe asked to teach it for the first time, or maybe they have a colleague that they need to introduce to qualitative research. And refreshing yourselves on the essentials is really helpful for that.
Yeah, we have people who have told us too in a lot of the courses that you've taught for us that they like to just kind of see how you presented the style of presentation, back and forth, that interaction. So even people deeply experienced. And you just did a great job of laying out who the course is for. And as you know, our audiences range disciplines, industries, and like the level of experience. It's so interesting the way you said some people are forced into it, right? And some people really is like they work for county government, and then all of a sudden their boss decides, let's do interviews, let's do focus groups, and they've never done research. So when you think more about who the course is for, is there anything you would add to what you've already given us?
Yeah, I would just say that this is the course for you if you don't know which course to get into first. This is going to be a safe space for you. So if you feel like you are clueless about qualitative, you might have some reservations of like, oh gosh, can I even be taking a qualitative class? Am I going to know a lot enough? And this is going to be a supportive environment. And as you said, Ray, for those of you who already have some qualitative experience, I'm going to share with you activities and worksheets and questions and so on that you can use yourself as you are orienting others. So it's a wide variety of people that this is good for. And it's going to be a little bit on a lot of different things so that you have an idea of the life cycle of qualitative research and you can be informed about where to go in deep after that.
Yeah, it's nice too, because all of your courses do this, but it's very intentional. And this idea of creating the type of environment you just described is not by no means by accident, right? And so you're setting this when you talk about to save space for folks. I just wanted, I didn't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to the strength you've already given us about that.
Well, I would say part of what we do in the course in order to create that is it's organized in a very specific way so that we are taking people through a mix of lecture, activity, and discussion. And what I find is that for courses like this to be effective, there needs to be space for those questions. And, when people ask questions, I help you. When you ask a question, it's not only for you, it is for everyone. And it's something that I, as an instructor, I acknowledge when people ask questions because it informs the course at hand. And also those activities, it's a really good space for you to see, like, gosh, what is it that I don't know that I don't know? And we're going to be doing different activities in the workshop. This is not something where you're going to leave just with knowledge in your head. You are going to leave with practical takeaways. So we are going to be working, for instance, on designing interview questions. So if, as Ray said, your boss just said to you, oh my gosh, I need you to do interviews, I'm going to give you some ideas and space and so on and guidance to know how to do those interview questions.
It's great. And it really seems like you're not just getting to practice steps. So many people come and they're focused on tell me what to do when, but the experience is much more dynamic. The thinking through piece that runs through having been in your classes that you've taught, it really helps people think about making decisions, not just that you know you'll have to make, but how to deal with, I didn't expect this to emerge. And that's just as critical, right? And I think that's also, I'm using the word intentional a lot because I know how mindful and thoughtful you are, not just about qualitative inquiry, but teaching and, sharing knowledge. But that's right, that decision-making stuff, it's hard to get people situated in a strong way there.
Yeah, and I would add to this, Ray, a lot of people come to qualitative research thinking there is one right way and paralyzed sometimes in thinking like, am I doing this correctly? And in this class, not only are you going to learn some things about what is not correct, but preferred or time-tested strong practices for qualitative research, but we're also going to make sure that people leave with the mindset of knowing that you as an individual should be part of and creatively in the qualitative research, that there isn't one right way, but a multiple, there's multiple paths to that end destination that you as a researcher get to insert yourself into, which is really fun.
And one of the points of anxiety for folks related to that is, well, wait, how do I know about quality? How do I know that I'm doing well? And that's something you've paid a little bit of attention to.
Just a little bit. Well, who knew, years ago when I first came up with this, that it would take off. But people get very stopped in terms of thinking like, is this the right way? Is it high quality? And that's also because many of us work in environments where people don't understand what equates with rigorous, high quality, qualitative research. So I developed years ago what I call the 8 big tent criteria for high quality qualitative research. And those are buckets, they are big tents with multiple practices under each. And the language that I will provide to you and that is provided through that model will help you be able to explain what you're up to in a way that is coherent. And it's also going to leave you with some confidence that you are practicing qualitative research in a way that many people agree is high quality, has a lot of credibility, and is rigorous.
And the 8 criteria carry across qualitative approaches, whether you're using one of the defined traditions, one of the many, or working in a hybrid way or carving your own set standards. It's a really powerful style as you go. So when people are working and when you're working, one of the things that we deal with a lot are challenges. And so when you think about that, what are pain points that you see? And if you don't mind personalizing it kind of to maybe even going back early in your career of a pain point and lessons learned. So
right.
We'll close up this conversation with this question, but about the Qual Essentials.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think then the pain point, I remember when I was first starting qualitative research methods, and there was very little instruction in it. And I became paralyzed myself of like, oh my gosh, am I doing this correctly? And so I read and read and read, but it was hard to really feel confidence just with words on a page. And to be in a community of like-minded others where you hear that other people have the same questions, concerns, and so on, and also to see that full life cycle of qualitative inquiry, from framing a question to collecting the data to figuring out how you are going to analyze in a way that is impactful and rigorous, and seeing a little bit along the way, it does leave you with confidence and clarity and a roadmap for where you're going. And I wish that, when I look back at young Sarah in graduate schools, I sat there with these books and trying to understand, like, what's a concept and what's a category, and I don't know what they're talking about with because there weren't pictures or anything. I wish for that person a community in order to make sense of it, and a guide along the way.
Yeah, it's great. So Paul and Jeff, we just wanted to kind of see if there's anything that kind of was poignant for you, anything you want to hear a little bit more about.
So, I guess you've sort of already addressed this, Sarah, but I'm wondering, in your experience teaching this course, what have you learned about presenting the topic? Um, how has sort of the way that you presented changed over time as you've done this numerous times?
Yeah. I think one of the main things is I've realized that most people who are wanting to understand essentials of qualitative inquiry, they are interested in a practical roadmap to help them move from, okay, we want to understand this issue and what are the steps along the way. They are less interested in being impressed with the instructor's deep theoretical knowledge about a certain qualitative genre. Or, certainly we can have fantastic classes, and those of you who take this class may end up taking other classes that are focused on grounded inquiry or phenomenology or conversational analysis. But when you're first wanting to understand essentials, or for those people who might take this because they want to teach, it needs to be an overall framework that can be applied and practiced without having years of training in a certain theoretical approach.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
empowering. Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Jeff, you want to?
Yeah, Sarah, I know you've kind of discussed this throughout, but just in a broad way, I just wanted to hear from you. What keeps you committed to qualitative inquiry? As you know, again, in this era that we're in with AI and certain parts that are under attack, as you said.
Yeah.
So just kind of
Yeah.
what keeps you going after all this time?
I keep going because it's so fun. Qualitative
Nice.
inquiry, if you can get past that sort of nervousness of, am I doing it right? Listening to people's stories, being able to make sense of different parts of lived experience and bring it to life for other people. There is so much joy in that. People want to, share their stories. And as a qualitative researcher, you get to be the conduit for doing that. And that brings a lot of satisfaction.
So to close out, Sarah, I'm going to bring to your attention something that I've heard you say a lot that I borrow, um, and it's qualitative research isn't just a method; it's a mindset, and the fun part is part of that, isn't it? And so I just wanted to, if you could wrap just kind of thinking about, it's kind of an umbrella idea. This qualitative research isn't just a method; it's a mindset, isn't it?
Yeah. Qualitative research is not just a method, it is a mindset. It is a way of approaching and thinking about the world in a creative way that lets humanity and plot lines and people's stories shine through. It reminds me to get, some people have said ethnography is not a method, it's a way of life, it's a way of being. Qualitative researchers, I'm probably biased, but they tend to be interesting people. because they examine the world empathically and attempt to see the world through other people's eyes. And now more than ever, given everything that's going on in the world, being able to think in that way does not only make you a stronger researcher, I guess I would go on a limb and say it makes you a more interesting, multifaceted person.
Beautiful. That's a really powerful way for us to close this section. Thank you so much. And we'll continue for anyone interested to learn more with Sarah. We'll be doing another conversation about each of the other 2 courses she's teaching with us. So thank you so much for this part, Sarah. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.